Hey guys, so I've been wanting to do a video like this for a while now. I get a lot of the same questions about Mexico City, so I wanted to do a sort of frequent asked questions slash Q&A. So I put a call out on Instagram a couple of days ago, and I asked people what their biggest questions were about Mexico City. If you're not following on Instagram, it's at Eternal Expat. And I got some really great questions, so I'm gonna just get right into it and answer them for you so it's not too long of a video. Casey Gregerson asks, suggestions for New Year's Eve in Mexico City? I've been getting this question a lot. Basically, I've never been to Mexico City on New Year's Eve. I'm really sorry. I always go away for Christmas ever since I moved here, and I will again this year and into the new year. But from what I've been told from friends that live here and that have lived here a long time, New Year's Eve is like a family time in Mexico City, in Mexico in general. Most people go to restaurants, so you book like a table at a restaurant and they'll literally put on like a whole spread for the whole night. You'll get dinner, you'll get drinks, the food will keep coming. Most of the time it's a buffet. They'll do a countdown. So yeah, like it's not like a sort of club thing. You can go to the Zocalo and they do have like some sort of stuff there too, but unless you want to be like super crowded and packed in, I don't recommend that. So yeah, if you're coming to Mexico City for New Year's Eve, I really recommend finding a few restaurants near where you're staying because taxis can also be a bit of an issue on that night as well. So you definitely want to be kind of near where you're staying unless you're willing to walk. So yeah, make sure you make a reservation and book into a restaurant for New Year's Eve if you're going to be here for them. That'll be the most kind of authentic way to ring it in if that's what you're looking for. So my other suggestion would be to head to like an area where there's a lot of bars, Michoacan in Condesa, or like Alvaro Obregón in Roma or something like that, where there's loads of bars and you can kind of do like a little bit of a pub crawl sort of thing. And I'm sure everything will be open really late. So those are my two suggestions for New Year's Eve. I'm really sorry I don't have more specifics because I've never been in the city on New Year's Eve. Let's see what else I've got here. Litrato Niadi asks, I love CDMX. Me too. Was just there during Day of the Dead. Great time to visit. This was my second time, thinking of moving there someday. Was interested in cheap local eats that are less touristy. Enjoy your blogs. Thank you. So, gosh, there's so many. Like any of the kind of street vendors are like my favorite places. There's a great market outside the exit of Hidalgo metro station, like kind of near Alameda Park. You can't miss it, it's covered in red tarp. It's right by the giant statue of Hidalgo, and they do awesome street food. I go there probably once a week from Pambazos or Barbacoa Tacos or Pastor. Really great quesadillas there. One of my other favorite places to go is in Coyoacan. You go to like this Antojitos market, which is kind of like inside, but it's totally open at the front, and they make the best deep fried quesadillas. So good. I highly recommend going there. It's also my favorite place to get an horchata. I mean, yeah, there's not like tons of touristy places in Mexico City in my experience. Like even famous places like El Huequito and you know, like Casa de Toño and stuff, like they're full of locals. The food is good. There's a reason it's famous. So yeah, if you see a really busy place as you walk past, go in and try their food. That's my recommendation. Eckhard Divad asks, how easy or hard is it to move to Mexico City? I mean, that really depends like on so many factors. It depends where you're from, it depends on what you're coming to Mexico City to do, it depends what sort of line of work you're looking for, it depends how long you want to be here for. I mean, there are so many factors, just like moving to any country. I found it very simple to come to Mexico City as an American who works for myself, for American clients. It was very simple for me to at first come and go on a tourist visa, and then to get temporary residency. It's all like quite straightforward, and I know for a lot of Canadians, Brits, Australians, it's also that straightforward. I can't speak for any other nations. I know it's also quite straightforward for a lot of EU countries, but it's less straightforward for say countries in Central America, countries in Africa, countries in Asia. I really don't know. The best thing that I can recommend for you is to speak to some people who live here already, who are from the country that you're from. You can find them on Facebook groups, which I'll link below, foreigners in Mexico City or expats in Mexico, and kind of put out a call about how difficult it was to get a visa. And the other thing that you can do is to speak to the Mexican embassy or consulate in your country where you are living, whether it's your home country or the country that you're currently a resident of, and find out that way. They'd be able to better service your questions than I can. So good luck. Oh, I like this one. I would like to know why you chose Mexico City. Mexico City was kind of an accident. Like, that sounds awful. It was never really a place that I had planned on living. I'd never even been to Mexico before I moved here. Not even like growing up. I'd never even been to Cancun or anything. So basically, like, I was living in Korea teaching English, and I knew I didn't want to teach English anymore. So my boyfriend and I went to the UK, where he's from, and we spent about 6 months there. He was looking for work. I was trying to build up a freelance business, and he got a job offer here in Mexico City, and I'd already started making a little bit of money freelancing, and we knew Mexico City was pretty cheap. A lot of things just sort of aligned, and yeah, we moved to Mexico City. Like, it just kind of happened. It was a great opportunity for him, and it was a really good opportunity for me to be able to build this business without the pressure of having to make a certain amount of money, because our rent was covered thanks to his job, and I could make enough to sort of feed us. So yeah, it was just a great opportunity that I didn't want to pass up, and that's why I moved to Mexico City, and now I'm hooked. How difficult? This is a question I've gotten a lot. Sorry. Our Escape Clause asks, how difficult did you find the process of finding an apartment in CDMX? Lots of people have asked one way or another, like, how to get an apartment. Is it easy to get an apartment? What's the process of getting an apartment? And it's really like up to you and what your situation is, how much money you're willing to spend, what sort of visas you're on, what people that you know already here in Mexico. So the cheapest option is to walk around the city in a neighborhood that you want to live in and look for rent signs, take down phone numbers and call them. Obviously you need to have a little bit of Spanish, if not near fluency, to have a conversation with someone about renting their apartment. Often these apartments require you to sign at least a year-long lease, and you have to have a guarantor, and they have to be in Mexico. So they don't necessarily have to be Mexican, but they have to be residents or citizens here in Mexico, and they have to be able to vouch for you and have like a certain amount of money. You have to have a deposit, you have to, like I said, sign the lease, and often you have to fill the apartment with furniture. It'll be empty like it would be in your own country. So that's the first option. If you're staying long term, if you're coming here for a job and you know that you have like a boss or someone at the company that can be your guarantor, like that's a great option, because it's definitely the cheapest option for finding an apartment. You can find really great places for 15,000 pesos in Roma, Condesa, outskirts of Polanco, whatever sort of neighborhoods you're looking for. The second option, which a lot of sort of digital nomads, people who are coming here for 6 months or less, and even people that I know who want to live here like for a year or more but don't want to buy furniture, don't want to go through the hassle of having a guarantor, is to go through Airbnb. So basically what you do is you go onto Airbnb and you find an apartment that you like, and you contact the person who owns the apartment. You don't book it, you contact them first, and you kind of discuss what their options are for long-term rentals. So they might maybe only rent it to you for a month, they might rent it to you for 2 months, they might be able to rent it to you for 6 months, but you should be able to negotiate down to a monthly rate rather than a nightly rate. It'll be more expensive than you might pay if you found an apartment yourself, but it's furnished, all the bills will be included, and it's a lot more convenient. You can kind of just let it go when you're done and go back to wherever, or head off to somewhere else that you want to go next. There's also a lot of like roommate options. So if you're coming here by yourself or you're coming here with a partner and you guys want to share an apartment with someone, and sort of a place that's move-in ready, there's a lot of places like Dada Rooms, or I can't remember the websites, but I'll link them all below. You can also check out some of the Facebook pages that I mentioned, which I'll also link below, and ask about if people are looking for roommates. People are always looking to fill their apartments. You could easily get a place for between 3,000 and 5,000 pesos to share a room with someone, plus bills added on top of that. But that's another option if you don't have a guarantor or you're staying for maybe only a little while and you want to sublet. So yeah, those are the 3 options that I recommend for finding an apartment. Those are the experiences that I've had and that my friends have had. So I'm sure there are probably other ways. A lot of people look on Craigslist, but in Mexico City, not many people use Craigslist. The only people that use Craigslist are people targeting Americans who are coming in and knowing that you have a lot of money to spend. So it's not the best option. Oh, it's so cold in our apartment. It's like 70 degrees outside, but inside I'm wearing so many layers, and I just drink tea all day so that I can keep my hands warm. Okay, one more question, and it's my favorite question. Passions and Places asks, what's your favorite thing about Mexico City? As Americans, we're always hearing about how beautiful Mexico's beaches are. They are. But what's your favorite thing about urban life? Oh, I've become such a city person over the years, and I wasn't sure, even as like a city lover, that when I came to Mexico City that I would fall in love with it, because I just knew what a big city it was. And although I've lived in Sydney and Seoul, which are big cities, they're still very laid back, and I was worried that coming to Mexico City was going to be like crazy, like London, which I don't love, and that people were going to be like, just it was going to have that sort of hustle bustle feel, and it doesn't at all. Mexico City, to say it's like one of the most populated cities in the world, is so like cool. It's so laid back. I love everything about it. Okay, not everything. The pollution isn't great. But I love access to all the different restaurants. If I don't want to have tacos, I know it happens every now and again, I can get amazing pizza. I can get great Turkish food, really good Lebanese food, awesome Chinese food, even really good Korean food. We can get good Italian, pretty good Japanese food. Great burgers, awesome burgers. There's just so many options for food, and for me that is like a top priority in a place to live. It's cheap, it's delicious, it's accessible pretty much 24 hours a day, and you can't beat that. So for me, one of the best things about Mexico City is the food, the access to all the different types of food that you would never get like in Tulum or Cancun or Puerto Vallarta. So for me, we may not have the beach, which is quite sad, but we have amazing food, awesome bars, great nightlife, and like amazing museums. Mexico City has some of the best museums that I've ever been to. History museums, art museums, science museums. It's just, it has a little bit of everything, and for me, that's exactly the sort of place that I want to live. So I hope that answers some of your questions. They're all kind of questions that I get repeats of a lot, so I'm sure that this will be helpful for a lot of you. If you have other questions about Mexico City, I'd be happy to do another video like this. Just let me know in the comments below what you have for questions, and keep your eyes peeled on Instagram for another call for questions that I will answer in my next video. Have a great weekend, you guys. The next time I see you, I'm going to be in the UK. I'm really excited for Christmas there and New Year's there, to show you a little bit around some of my favorite places that I love to visit when I go back there. So till then, have a nice week. Bye.